Very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, I have no blood on my hands. Former Ivorian youth leader Charles Ble Goude appears before judges at his war crimes trial in The Hague. His lawyers say that he's a peace-loving man and compare him to Martin Luther King. Also, we speak to the families of dozens of Nigerian soldiers jailed for mutiny. They say the troops were under pressure from Boko Haram insurgents because they hadn't been given enough weapons. And on your mic, we head into Cairo's first custom bike shop, set up in the hopes of encouraging people to see the wheel city by riding rather than driving through congested streets. There's no blood on my hands, says Charles Ble Goude. The former Ivorian youth leader is being tried by the ICC alongside ex-President Laurent Gbagbo. Now, he's told judges at his war crimes trial in The Hague that he was not responsible for fatal post-electoral violence that erupted in 2010.
Prosecutors accused Charles Ble Goude of crimes against humanity, but his lawyer said he was a pacifist like Martin Luther King. He compares himself to Nelson Mandela. Ble Goude said he did not encourage violence during the 2010 post-electoral crisis.
I am not a man of war. I call for reconciliation in my country. I call for peace in my country. I call for a true and lasting peace, devoid of any political calculation, devoid of any drama, because Ivorians need help.
But his critics and many international NGOs say he fanned the flames of violence during the conflict. This is what the former leader of the pro-Gbagbo youth movement was saying just days before the fall of the former president.
I call on all the young people of Ivory Coast to report to the army headquarters on Monday at 7 a.m. to enroll in the army. The young people of Ivory Coast, are you ready to join the army, to serve your country?
At the ICC, Ble Goude risks a 30-year jail sentence for his role during the crisis that left 3,000 people dead. It's not the first time the 44-year-old politician, dubbed General of the Streets, has been accused of fomenting trouble. In 2003 and 2004, the former leader of the Students' Federation had encouraged violent anti-French protests.
Zimbabwe's chief prosecutor has been granted bail after having been charged with obstructing justice. Johannes Tomina was charged after dropping a case against 2 out of 4 men accused of planning to bomb President Robert Mugabe's dairy farm. Now, the pair turned state witness after being freed. Authorities say that was an abuse of office by Tomina and have levelled new treason charges against the dairy farm 4. Well, if convicted, Tomina faces up to 15 years in prison. He had been seen as a Mugabe loyalist, but has fallen out with the president and last year clashed with Mugabe's wife, Grace. The multinational force to combat Boko Haram's insurgency in West and Central Africa is struggling to hit its funding targets. After a meeting on the mission's finances at the African Union's summit in Addis Ababa, an official warned that donor pledges cover just a third of the $700 million budget needed for the 8,700-strong task force. Now, it's to be made up of regional African armies and has yet to mobilize. In the meantime, individual national militaries are tackling the Nigerian extremists. The jihadists have killed thousands of people and displaced more than 2 million during their 6-year insurgency. Former Nigerian National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki's corruption trial stalled on Tuesday, adjourned until later in the month. Now, he's accused in connection to bogus arms deals that allegedly diverted billions of euros meant to buy weapons for soldiers fighting Boko Haram. At the time the cash was allegedly diverted, the insurgents had taken control of 80% of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe states, outgunning soldiers as they advanced. Well, 70 troops are currently in jail for mutiny after firing upon their commanding officer in protest at not having enough weapons to fight Boko Haram. France 24's correspondents met the family and lawyer of one of the imprisoned troops.
Private Sion Elasanme is Kunli's only son. Going to church is a respite from thinking about his son's predicament. Kunli holds former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki responsible.
If he had bought the weapons, it wouldn't have been this way. It's because there weren't any weapons available. That's why they did what they did. So they were just told to go to war without any weapons.
Nigeria's most prominent human rights lawyer, Femi Falana, represents the 70 soldiers serving sentences for mutiny. Falana has requested the International Criminal Court to investigate Dasuki for crimes against humanity.
While the petition is pending before the special prosecutor, I'm also monitoring what is going on locally to ensure that these guys are made to face the full sanctions of the law.
Meanwhile, Private Ilasanmi's loved ones pray and wait for his release. The 30-year-old soldier had planned to marry this year.
I'm 28 years old now. I'm supposed to have get married. She understands. So I hope for him to leave, even though if I thought this January, as in this February we are going, that he should leave there. So we are going to have an introduction this very February.
As a retired general himself, sources close to President Muhammadu Buhari say he empathises with the imprisoned soldiers. Their fate may well depend on the outcome of Dasuki's trial.
Well, this week, the World Health Organization declared the outbreak of the mosquito-borne infection, Zika, a global emergency. It was first discovered in Uganda in 1947 and has spread through the Americas, where it's suspected of causing birth defects. The WHO has warned that the virus could spread to Europe, Asia and Africa. It's already been reported in Cape Verde. Currently, there is no vaccine. Pathologists at a lab in Nairobi say that there is little likelihood of a rapid spread of Zika in the short term. However, African health organizations should be thinking ahead.
In terms of, are we gearing up for a Zika epidemic or pandemic right now? No, I don't think we need to be worried at that scale. But of course, I think our government, our health ministry need to be aware that there is a potential of spread into our country. There might be an element of immunity that is existent in the African population, but is it the same strain of the Zika virus from the 1940s, or is it a new strain? Is it even the Zika virus that's causing the microcephaly or not? So I think there's a lot of lack of information. We have more questions than we have answers.
And finally, two Cairo cyclists are encouraging people to get on their bikes around the city's congested streets. Through their workshop, the city's first custom bike shop, they've begun teaching new skills, repairing and selling bikes to great success. Dipti Laurent tells us more.
On your bike, that's a message from this pair of Cairo cyclists. Here at their workshop, they repair and sell bikes, but also teach people how to navigate through the city's chaotic streets. They're hoping to change the perception of getting about in two wheels in a city where there are few bike lanes and little traffic discipline.
We started feeling like the community needed help accessing more information about cycling. Maybe they can't find anyone to teach them because it's considered to be a profession or a skill. So we created this space today so that if people want to come and learn, we'll teach them. It's not a secret.
Karim headed to Canada for a 6-month course in bicycle making and co-founded the workshop with Dirk, a Dutchman he met while fixing his brother's bike. So far, the response has been positive.
We're marginalizing bikes more and more in the streets by not creating a space for them. But it's something we can produce much more easily than everything else. And bikes don't pollute, don't need fuel. It's healthy. It has so many advantages.
The Egyptian government had promised to make Cairo bike-friendly, but so far little has been done. This duo will soon start screening documentaries about the benefits of their passion. They're hoping to bring change directly to the people and usher in a new revolution, a cycling revolution.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa. Stay with us, though. A short break. More coming up.